All right. Call this meeting to order. Trustee Feather and lead an invitation in the pledge.
Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the beautiful day you've given us here. Thank you for this college, what it means to every one of us, and what it means to this community. We ask for your wisdom and your guidance today as we deal with the business of the college, and may everything we do be pleasing to you. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, consideration and approval of the February agenda. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consideration and approval of minutes from the January board meeting.
Make the motion to approve the last minutes as presented. I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Eric's on a tangent today. Consideration of college financial report.
Start on page 10 of your board books. This is the year-to-date as of December the 31st, compared to the same time in last fiscal year. On the revenue side, you can see we're doing pretty well in tuition, so this shows where we're at the end of our fall term. Does not reflect spring term yet. And other categories, very similar to what you've seen in previous months. On the next page, looking at our expenses, again, very comparable to last year and comparable to previous months that you've seen there. And then on the third page, on page 12, looking at revenues minus expenses, we're a bit ahead of where we were this time last fiscal year. The next two pages are just the details of those same numbers. On page 15, we begin to look at our January numbers. So this will start to give us a little insight into our spring term. That's looking at the top half of our revenue. You can see that our tuition and fees have shot up quite a bit with our spring registration, leaving us still $724,000 left to recognize with the remainder of some late spring registration and summer term. Other categories very similar to what you've seen in previous months. Non-operating revenue is where our local property tax revenue is reflected. So the vast majority of that is collected in January. So you see that number has increased significantly since last month. On the bottom half of the page, then looking at our expenses, this is 58% into our fiscal year as of the end of January. So kind of using that as our mark. You can see that all those categories are pretty close to our goal and very comparable to previous months. Then again, the next page being just the underlying numbers of those same charts. On our capital budget on page 17, you see there we have modified some of the numbers specifically regarding the Best Activity Center that you saw in budget amendments last month. So those are reflected now in these numbers and the receipt of the insurance proceeds that are related to that project. Following that, looking at our cash and banks, looking at our cash high on page 19, we're at somewhat of a high of cash. A big chunk of that is related to those insurance proceeds that I just mentioned regarding the claim on the Best Activity Center project. So we did get that in cash from the insurance company, but of course the work and the paying out of those insurance proceeds continues. Following that, then we did not have any change in our CDs in the month of January. So nothing to report there. And then lastly, on page 23, on our bids, we did bid out for a tractor and some implements, which were grant funded as part of our, part of our farm program. And then the batting cage system, that will be part of the training facility that is the addition to Blackwell to finish that project. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
I move to approve the report as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
No.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Thanks, Charlotte. President's report.
Yes, sir. So it has been a busy month. We had our Athletic Hall of Fame banquet, our 2025 inductees. Sunday at a mile for men's basketball, 93-95, Dave Jarvis, baseball, 85-93. Former coach, Moon McCrary, men's basketball, 78-80, member of the 79 championship team. Wilbur Thornton as contributor, spent 23 years volunteering as the voice of the Raiders. And Miss Laverne Turner volleyball, 95-97. We had a packed house in the Westwood Center. Trustee Hager was kind enough to be the MC. It was a well-received night. Everybody had a good time, and it was a real honor to privilege to be able to recognize these outstanding athletic awards. Following that, we had our alumni reunion. We had pretty much a packed house. We had success on the court and off the court with every event. It started with pancake breakfast, which had record numbers of participation, to our alumni star, who is featured there, and then our Raider of the Year. So really a big night, a lot of positivity, a lot of our faculty and staff alum came out. Really a high energy night. Really one of the better ones I think we've had come on. Also had a alumni author presentation. So Will Doherty had written a book and he did a reading. Really a good time. Then it was, I believe, our 37th Jazz Festival, February 6th through the 8th. In the Tenon Theater. They had huge participation, as they always do. So our Jazz Fest serves as both a Jazz Fest and clinicians coming, prepping high school and college students for the next competition. So this has been a long-standing event that has been put on by Buddy White predominantly, with a great deal of help from Professor Cindy White. And our music department has done this. It brings a lot of people onto campus each year, and really is a stellar event. Then on the 7th, the patrons of the arts put on Bop to the Future, which is a modern jazzy group that does classical things modernized, which was actually well received. We sold about 400 tickets to that. So that was, I think, their third time to be participants in this. Then following that, we had the Salute to Ag Dinner, celebrating Southeast Missouri agriculture. This is put on by the Three Rivers College Ag Department, with some cooperation from Missouri Extension. It is a dinner and a banquet. We give out awards for different people. We recognize in different categories. We recognize Century Farms, and then you can see we had a panel of ag experts that took questions from the audience and gave their view on what the current hot trends and topics in agriculture were. Well-reviewed event. It is our second time to do this. Catherine Clark, our ag program manager, and ag teacher, does a fantastic job with this event. Brett Tillmeyer helps put it on. He's a lobbyist for Soybean Council. So well received, well reviewed, excellent event. And then in partnership with Southeast Missouri Behavioral Health, we had Hug in a Mug. It worked out really well. They provided coffee and refreshments and mental health resources to our students in cooperation with Corey Reynolds, our behavioral health support program manager. And worked out really well because it was a really cold day, very hot chocolate appropriate, and had a lot of participation and a lot of positive feedback from our students and campus community. So that was excellent event to partner with Southeast Missouri Behavioral Health. And then I'm going to ask Dr. Mary Beth Payne to come forward, and we would like to present and honor the Strategic Planning Steering Committee, who's coming in now. Keep coming, there's a bunch of them. Dr. Payne?
Good afternoon. I want to thank Dr. Payne and the Board of Trustees for allowing time on the agenda today for us to recognize each member of the Strategic Planning Steering Committee. But before I do that, I would like to ask Mrs. Campbell and Dr. Benjamin Haas to come to the podium. They would like to share a little bit about their experience being on the committee.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Brooks. My title here is Director of Career Studies. It was my first year to participate with the Strategic Planning Steering Committee. As an employee, there are things I found out about the college that we don't even know. I was highly impressed with our facilities when we got to tour the outside extension offices. We have a fantastic lab that does manufacturing technology, and it provided me with, I believe, more knowledge to support the community when they ask questions, you know, what do you offer at Three Rivers? I can remember back when I went to college thinking all I wanted to do was be on campus. You know, I know a lot of the theme today is wireless and online learning, but I believe that our Engage 2030 is focusing to help bring students back to campus and help build our community so that we're going to go on and support them to be successful in their endeavors. Thank you all.
Hi, everybody. I'm Benjamin Haas. I'm an associate professor of communication studies here, so I teach most of the in-person public speaking classes and some of the ones online too. And I want to thank you all for having me here, particularly Dr. Payne, in inviting me to speak today. And when I was asked to talk, I was asked to think about what the faculty experience was participating in the strategic planning committee. And I couldn't help but think about a lecture I gave in class, and I promise this won't take the whole time. But when my students ask me how to come up with a topic to speak about in their classes, I often ask them to create their own utopia, to think about what kind of world they want to live in. And then I ask them to, after they struggle with that for 30 or 40 minutes, I ask them a much easier question, which are, what are the problems that exist in this world that keep you from getting to live in that world? And they do this incredibly quickly. And so I then ask them to imagine that utopia that they wanted to live in as a city, and the barriers that keep them from getting to live in that thing as a wall around that city. I then ask them to imagine themselves as a Viking princess, in the powerful Warhammer, and that their job as public speakers is to chip away at the barriers that keep them from getting to live in the world that they want to. In a whole bunch of ways, I feel like that Engage 2030 was the process of asking faculty and staff and administration to come together and to talk about what kind of university, what kind of college, what kind of world do we want to make? What kind of place do we want this to be like for ourselves, for our students, and for the people that will follow us into some future day? It is important to know that if we ever get to utopia, we will just invent new problems because we are like mice that get cookies. And so I think that we will also continue to desire new things. And so the naming of Engaging 2030, I think, is incredibly important Because the commitment that we made to one another in that document, in those meetings, in those conversations on all of those Friday afternoons, was that we would continue to work together. That no matter what happened, that we would be a community that knows that problems will arise, but that we are a community that is capable of overcoming those problems that we face, and that engaging is the way in which we get to that place that we desire so much so. And so it was an incredible experience, particularly as a new faculty member, to get to meet a whole bunch of people who I didn't know before, and to really get to understand the inner workings of the college, and to see the community that has existed here long before I ever was a part of the college, but to become a part of that community, and hopefully to get to be a part of seeing it. And so thank you very much for this opportunity, and I really appreciate the work that all of you did, as well as getting to be part of it myself. Thank you.
As I previously described during our January board meeting, our strategic planning steering committee dedicated most Friday afternoons from September through January, sorting through massive amounts of data and information. They really were trying to understand the strengths and the challenges facing our college. At Three Rivers, it's our culture of continuous improvement and our belief that through this method of broad-based institution-wide involvement, the data has meaning because it is the employees of the college that truly give voice, their unique voice, to this process. Their collective voice went into the creation of Engage 2030 that will begin the next 5-year cycle of planning for our college beginning on July 1st. The members of the Strategic Planning Steering Committee represent every functional area of the college, such as academic advising, student housing, athletics, financial aid, maintenance, technology, academic assessment, external locations, human resources, and of course, the heart and soul, our beloved faculty. And so as I call your name, if you would please just kind of wave or step forward so we can see you. Not everyone could be here today. There were roughly 44, I think, members of the Strategic Planning Steering Committee, not everyone. As I call your name, please let us know where you are. Jason Alford, Ivana Arms, Steve Atwood, Dr. Michael Baggs, Dr. Ryan Bixby, Brandy Brooks, Kim Brooks, Cassandra Takes, Catherine Clark, William Cooper, Heather Cornman, Jason Cowan, Kevin Crawford, Corey Gillespie, Michael D'Angelo, Charlotte Eubank, Joe Giassi, Dr. Benjamin Haas, Kelly Hastings, James Husky, Jennifer Inman, CJ Jameson, Heather King, Cassie Knox, Frank Ludwig, Missy Marshall, Ann Matthews, Christina McDaniel, Dustin Midyett, Amanda Moore, Regina Morris, Jeffrey Knoll, Dr. Wesley Payne, Dr. Meredith Payne, Andrea Pierce, Neisha Prater, Amanda Quate, Corey Reynolds, Barbie Rogers, Colleen Sanders, Amanda Taylor, Emily Thurman, and Rob Thomas. Please join me in applauding our
Yes,
Yes, sir.
But before you get going, I'd love to know what each one of them put their job in on campus. We see faces and hear names, but can't connect exactly what you're doing. So I would love to know what your job title, that would help me really grasp that. I don't have a yearbook to look at just before we're done.
we'll start with Barbie, and if you'll repeat your name and tell what you do.
Barbie Rogers, I'm the executive assistant for CVAP with the Chief Technology Officer.
So,
I'm Cassie Cates, I'm the executive assistant for Amy Matthews Student Services.
CJ Jameson, Director of Student Housing and Student Life.
Aisha Prater, I'm the outreach and benefits coordinator for the nursing program.
Catherine Clark, I'm your ag teacher.
Heather Cornman, early childhood development instructor.
Ryan Bixby, Director of Distance Learning. Joe Giassi, Instructor of Life Science.
Dr. Bags, Instructor of Political Science.
Corey Gillespie, instructor of history.
Michael D'Angelo, Associate Professor of Chemistry and Physical Sciences. Frank Ludwig, Director of Academic Assessment.
Jennifer Inman, instructor of accounting. Pam Brooks, director of career studies.
James Husky, System Administrator. I'm Benjamin Hollis, Associate Professor of Communication Studies.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That helps me tremendously. Thank you.
So I want to commend everybody that participated. A lot of the, number of the committee can't be here today. They're actually in prison. They are. Okay, they are registering, and doing FAFSAs for 197 prison students today and tomorrow. So the good news is they will let them out of prison this afternoon. But the amount of dedication and work that these folks did is incredible. They devoted virtually every Friday time that they could have been doing other work and pursuing their regular job to help move the college forward together. Our process is designed so that this is the college's plan, not the president's plan, not the administration's plan, not the board's plan, the college's plan. So beyond the time they spent in the room, they went back and talked to their colleagues about, here's what we did. Here's what we're learning. Give me your input and be part of this process. So that by the time we are finished, everyone who is a member of the community had the opportunity to have voice about our future. So these are the folks that make this work. And they are a huge chunk of what makes us Three Rivers College and the special place we are. So I want to say thank you to you all. The work you did is important and it's special. And can we do the Husky? Oh, we also had a lot of fun. Thank you all. Give me the number. Okay, good. I don't know. Work out. We can run sheep.
More cows.
Hair sheep. We have some upcoming events. February 27th, we have Papa Bluff Trivia Night, 5 to 8 p.m. at Holiday Inn. This is a scholarship fundraiser. Career and Transfer Center open house will be March 4th and March 5th. 9 to 6 on March 4th, 9 to 2 on March 5th, right here across the hall. The next patrons performance is Tim Lovelace. He is a family-oriented comedian. That is March 6th, 7 p.m. Fine Arts Center. Tickets are still on sale. There is some availability, and that show is sponsored by Doug and Elaine Lima and Herman and Jill Stiles. Then March 10th through the 14th, we are closed for spring break. Then Social Services Career Day, March 19th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That will be held in the Plaster Free Enterprise Center. And that, sir, is the president's report. We do have executive session items.
All right, so we need a motion to move into executive session.
You know, I don't think I think I would like to make a motion to go into executive session. I will second that motion.
Trustee Featherston,
Yes.
trustee Richardson. Oh, sorry.
Trustee Richardson and Trustee Williams are here.
Yes.
Gotcha. Trustee Hager.
Yep.
Trustee Garrison.
Yeah.
Trustee Shaw.
Yeah.
Trustee Williams.
He said yes.
Yes.
All right, we're in the executive session. All right, we're back in regular session. Amber, are you and Chris still on?
I'm still on, Darren.
Okay. Items for consideration, discussion, and vote. Number one, consideration, discussion, vote on reaffirm BP 0343 conflict of interest.
Statutorily, we're required to renew this every other year. We actually do it every year because then we don't forget what we're renewing. So I'm putting it forward to remove the board's conflict of interest policy.
All right, need a motion.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Trustee Featherston?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Hager?
Yep.
Trustee Garrison?
Yes.
Trustee Shock? Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Number two, consideration, discussion, and vote on our tuition plan.
As presented.
I will make the motion to approve that tuition.
All right,
Second.
second, roll call.
Trustee Featherston?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Hager?
Yes.
Trustee Garrison?
Yes.
Trustee Shock?
Absolutely.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Right, consideration and approval of all personnel actions and associated documents.
You know, Mr. Garrison, I'd like to make the motion to approve all personnel decisions and the associated documents.
Thank you. Get a second of that fabulous motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Trustee Featherston?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Hager?
Yes.
Trustee Garrison?
Yes.
Trustee Shock?
By all means.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Anybody got anything, Amber? I feel like we need to give you a chance to say something. We haven't heard you hardly say anything.
I'm all good. Just a little under the weather.
Why don't you make a motion then?
All right, I will move to adjourn.
I will second that.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, stay seated.